Bray Wyatt has cut a promo on SmackDown, as per usual, and I thought it was really good. I'll be honest, I didn't know what to lead with for SmackDown because I thought it was an enjoyable episode. And that's about it. Yay! So we're going to talk about Bray Wyatt. Also, Sat's here.
Yay!
It's a three-person booth, three-man booth.
LIW, baby! Us free in the flesh! Woo!
In the flesh?
In the flesh! Yeah.
In the Jody Fleisch?
In the Jody Fleisch.
The Jody Fleisch?
Is it Fleisch or Flesh? I never knew the surnames. Fleisch. I knew it was Fleisch.
Yeah.
Person reader here.
So the reason that Sat is here is because you guys haven't seen the edited news video yet because it's going out immediately, probably immediately after the podcast, because I think it's done like now, but I can't go sign it off and push it live. But that's his.
Mine. It's all mine.
That's his.
All the gold.
These are his toys.
Mine. Having a good time. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, no, not toys. These are his gimmicks. You can't mess with that. The reason that Sat is here is because from Saturdays they're going to be Sat E days going forward. Because for the next month is going to be a 3-man booth on the SmackDown and Rampage podcast with the 3 of us. And then after this month, going into December, it will be a 2-man booth again because I'm going to be not doing it anymore. I'm going to be stopping working Saturdays altogether so I can work Monday to Friday like a normal human being because I don't want to do Saturdays anymore.
What?
So
what
there you go.
You don't want to work with me anymore.
I don't want to work with you, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother. So for the next month, we're going through this whole transitionary period. Sat's going to be doing the news on the episodes. And for this next month, it's going to be Sat doing news, me doing SmackDown review, Tempest doing Rampage. And then once I move off Saturdays, it will be Sat doing the news and Tempest doing the SmackDown review. And there won't be a review of Rampage.
I'm sure you're all heartbroken.
Yeah. So
means I have to wake up an hour earlier to watch SmackDown.
You sure do, buddy. You're so welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, LIW.
For next month.
For the next month. And afterwards, hopefully, life. So yeah, that's what's happening, which is why Sat is here. For the next month, is going to be 3-man booth, apart from the 1 week I'm away and apart from the 1 week that Sat's away. So actually for 3 weeks.
I'm here.
Yeah. Tempest is here the whole time,
podcast.
though. So there you go. So anyway, that's what's happening. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt. Get in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support BTW. We'll go through all the ones that are $5 US and up by the time the show goes off the air. I wanted to talk about this Bray Wyatt promo because it was probably my favorite thing on the show. Maybe the main event was also up there as like my favorite things. Didn't really know what to lead with for this episode because nothing was really hugely headline worthy.
There was no bloodline stuff.
There was no bloodline stuff really, which is the big headline stuff. But I thought this Bray Wyatt promo was something. For me, especially because on last week's episode, I openly said, like, I'm a bit lost with this whole Bray Wyatt stuff. I don't know what any of it means. And, like, it's artistically cool, but I don't really understand any of it. This, I thought, was a bit more grounded in something that I can kind of, like, latch onto and connect to. So this was just
different.
It was also different. So Bray Wyatt backstage was kind of just talking to the camera, just being like, you know, I'm not one to talk about my feelings, and I don't like it when people interrupt me when I'm trying to do something that's so personal as talking about my feelings. That makes me upset. Referring to the Uncle Howdy thing that interrupted him last week. He then immediately gets interrupted by a guy going backstage with a package. Just a dude. Being like, sup. Bray Wyatt is like, okay. And has to go over, and he just kind of yells at this guy. He starts off talking and ends up yelling by the end of this like little monologue. And he's saying that, you know, I hate myself right now because that feeling you get when someone cuts you off in traffic and for the next 30 seconds, all you can do is think about what you want to do with them if you got 30 seconds with them. And he just gets more and more intense over this time. And just saying, like, I hate that I get so violent and this is what I want to do. But I just want to take your head right now and I want to crush it. And it's just like, goes off on this guy. And he screams at him to apologize to him. And the guy... I would say the only bad bit of the segment was this guy's acting because he
wasn't acting, he was reacting.
Well, was he? I don't think he was. He was just Stonewall the entire time.
Exactly. He hangs out with wrestlers.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I did not mean to offend you.
This happens to him once a day.
Yeah, it's constant. Yeah. So then Bray like takes a big breath after he apologizes. Goes, yeah, I know. Now go away. Go away. Leave me. And the guy like walks away, and he just turns around, puts his hands on like a crate or scaffolding or whatever the hell's there, and just. And then the segment ends, and I was like, "Damn, I'm into this again now. Something as tangible as a person's feelings. Also, maybe I'm just a sucker for inner turmoil, but I love it when people don't like themselves. Oh, I love it as character beats. What did you guys think? I love this.
Champ.
I think it's really interesting stuff because, again, it was different from what we've seen. And that's kind of the problem that I had with last week's segment, where I thought it was still a good segment. It was also the same segment that we had seen when Bray Wyatt first made his return to SmackDown. This was something new.
Yeah.
And I liked it for that reason. I also have come around on the fact that Uncle Howdy is absolutely Bo Dallas in disguise. I think that is going to be something. I think when we get that reveal, I'm very interested to see what that reaction is going to be. If Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy, of course, I could be wrong, but
there's been teasers.
There's been teasers.
Little Easter eggs that people have found.
The people smarter than me have pointed things out online, and we'll see what happens.
I think the mask looks like Wyndham. Barry Windham. They say it looks like Barry Windham.
It's not a nice thing to say about Barry Windham.
Well, Barry Windham of today. You're thinking 80s. You just think
that's not nice to say about Barry Windham today.
Still not nice to say.
It's got a Windham-esque face because even Blackjack Mulligan, his face looks like Barry Windham. It looks like a Windham face. No, he's got the Blackjack mustache. No,
it's not an attractive mask.
Of course
I'll
not.
say that much.
It's like a corpse of someone.
It looks like
I was gonna go there. Yeah,
decaying face.
It looks like Barry Windham today. It looks like a corpse.
I was gonna say,
that's what you just said.
No, I was gonna say it looked like Blackjack Mulligan possibly today.
Oh.
I went there. I didn't want to, but I went there. I'm sorry, guys. My first day doing the Saturdays. Should I just go home now? Should I just
Crikey,
We're off to a great start.
So, Tempest, what do you think of the segment?
I really like Bray Wyatt's current story progression that we've had now that there has been some progression, because as I've said, dating back to the podcast that Luke and I did before Bray Wyatt made his return to SmackDown, I want this character of his to be as psychological as possible. I want this to be Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, the person going through some inner turmoil and some battle internally, and it seems for all the world like that is the story that we are getting. So I like that. Again, I don't think this was that much of a huge step forward, but it was a step forward. Yeah. That's all I need on these shows. As long as I feel like we are taking a little bit of a step to the next chapter of this saga, I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree.
So this version of Bray Wyatt, do you want him to stay? Or do you feel like this version of Bray Wyatt is what we get in the beginning and he's going to be something completely different?
And he'll transition into something different?
Yeah, because...
I don't know.
Because I call this guy Man Pain Bray Wyatt.
Man pain Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, because of all his pain on display, and people are like, okay, he's got his man pain, internal turmoil within his soul. You know, this guy did a lot of terrible things. Like, should I feel sorry for him? Wyndham Rotunda got fired, yeah, but Bray Wyatt, the character, is it a blending of two characters? Is it the one? Is what happened to Wyndham also happened to Bray, if that makes sense? Because in actuality, the real guy got fired, but Bray Wyatt, the character, kind of went away. So it's kind of like, do I feel sorry for guys?
Where's the line?
Yeah,
for these
technically
these two people?
He did bad things. He was a cult leader. He kidnapped people. He brainwashed people. You know,
he broke into the Miz's house with a scary ghost mask.
Exactly,
he
scared kids.
Did. Yeah, I really liked that he acknowledges that everything he's done is bad, but he feels bad for it, and he's like, I can't stop myself. This is how I feel. I know it sucks, and I'm wrong for doing this, but I am doing it. And that's like a cool layer to this character, I think. Quite interesting.
But do you think he's gonna wrestle Uncle Howdy? Like, if we think it's Bo Dallas, is it a case of like, is it gonna be Bo Dallas or Bo Wyatt or whatever?
Bo Wyatt.
Because the Uncle Howdy mask is much physically bigger than the actual Bo Dallas.
For sure.
This would be like wrestle crap stuff, right? You don't want to actually wearing the mask in a match.
No.
So this is the interesting thing is we can't predict where this is going, which makes it fascinating. But at the same time, we need a little inkling because this guy's meant to be the number one babyface. He's more of an anti-hero to me because he doesn't really do babyface stuff. So I'm interested in knowing where this goes next. I'm happy, like you said, it wasn't the same thing. He's in the ring, cutting a promo, or the same backstage promo where his music was playing really loud.
They sorted it out this week.
Yeah, they had it underneath. So this is a guy struggling, and I, like everyone else, look forward to it. Even the guy that he shouted at, is he meant to represent he's in the turmoil, escaping. You know, people really read into things about Bray Wyatt. It's like everything he does is deliberate. Why that specific guy?
Why that guy?
Why that guy?
What's that guy done?
That guy represents, Virgil and Bray and Barry Windham back in the 80s or some, someone's gonna make up something in their mind.
Of course, yeah. It's how artistic interpretation, right? But yeah, no, I thought this was a very good segment, and for me, even though, like you said, it is a small step for me, it's a very important step because now I care much more than I did before. Whereas before, it was kind of like a superficial, like, this is interesting. Now I'm like, oh, I have to know where this goes next.
Right.
And for me, that's a very, very important step for this character. So I'm way more into this now. I thought this was a home run for that reason.
What this might, I might relate this to, Pete, that I think you will greatly appreciate. This is like an episode of a show where the plot itself doesn't progress, but you get an analysis of a character, perhaps like Tales of Ba Sing Se.
Yes!
Where you get to see that much more of Uncle Iroh's character, but nothing happens that drives the plot forward. You just get a little nugget of information about a character that makes you care about them more.
Can you believe that Tales of Ba Sing Se is a filler episode?
Not a bit.
Unbelievable.
One of my favorite songs to ever be written for a show in that song. In that episode.
What show are we talking about?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh. You didn't know what we were talking about.
I'm sorry, nerd culture. I don't know.
It's a kids show.
No. I watch kids show. I've been watching Power Rangers on YouTube. Power Rangers, they have the full episode on YouTube. I've been watching that. Been showing my daughter it, and I've been watching Arthur. I've been watching Simpsons. They're not kids shows. They're timeless. I watch Last Airbender sometimes when I was younger on a Saturday.
Good.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the greatest shows of all time.
Don't boo me.
One of the best
educate
shows.
me. Don't boo me. Educate me. Gosh, champ.
We did educate you.
Mine.
We said it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, and now it's on you to go and watch it.
Yeah.
We can't educate you past that.
Yeah, I know.
We've led the horse to the water.
Yeah, I'll drink it one day.
Yeah. Well, shall we get in to see what you guys think of this stuff? Send in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We're going to read out all the ones that are $5 and up by the time the show goes off the air. Charles Berg said, I said it before, but I'll say it again. I've always found an intriguing character would be someone who knows they have an evil in them and the internal struggle of two minds fighting for control of one body. I can't stop me, so my opponent has to end me.
You know what this all kind of reminds me of? It's not the same thing, obviously, but this really reminds me of how Malachi/Aleister Black always described his own character. Where in that Twitch stream he said that the character of Aleister Black was the devil with memory loss.
Yeah.
Where he knows that he's done something bad and has to atone for it, but he doesn't know what it is.
Yep.
It's just like, I know there's evil inside me, but I can't really do anything about it. And I thus either need to try and be better or just kind of allow it.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of ambiguity of the whole thing.
I agree. I really like this sort of, like you said, it's more a more psychological edge to this story rather than spooky nonsense.
Yeah.
You don't like spooky nonsense?
I do not like spooky nonsense.
The spooky hologram Bray Wyatt ridiculousness is insane. The cult leader Bray Wyatt is awesome.
What about when he did Fiendish things? Did you like that? Did you like Fiendish?
I liked all of the Firefly Funhouse segments leading up to the debut against Finn Balor. Oh, top-notch stuff. Couldn't have asked for much better. As soon as he started doing spooky, what's the word I'm looking for? Paranormal stuff. I'm
Hocus pocus nonsense.
Never mind. You've lost me.
So you didn't like when he did Mandible Claws and the Legends? You hated that? The screams in his head?
Mandible Claws on Legends was okay. The presentation was a bit off, but it was fine. But man, that debut match is unbelievable at SummerSlam. I feel like a moment.
Fans cheered Finn Balor all the way back to NXT. Like they cheered for Bray so hard to the point he shrunk so small he had to go back to NXT.
Exactly.
I feel sad for Finn at that point. But we were all white as well.
He's back now. He's fine. He's leader of a cool group.
You didn't call that in the beginning.
Well, to be fair,
past reviews.
Might not even be the leader. That might be Rhea Ripley because she's awesome. But anyway, the Guilty Hat said, an idea I had watching a Blackpool Content Club video yesterday. Could you see Roman punishing Jay at some point by having him lie down for Sammy, dropping the tag titles to him and Solo? Could be a bit convoluted, but with further a Jay face turn. Also give Sammy money in the bank.
Oh, that's a fun concept.
That's a fun idea.
The idea of having Jay drop the titles to Sami and Solo. I think the lead up to that match and being like, you know what? No, you don't get to have this thing. You lay down. And then he's like, internal turmoil and everything, internal conflict. And he has to do it, but that's when he is the most defiant, and he doesn't do that. And the Usos end up beating them. I don't think you can end this record-setting title reign with something like that. I think whoever beats them needs to earn it.
Yeah.
But I think that this, as an angle, would be a very good thing to continue to add layers onto the Jay Roman stuff.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Really like that.
I just want Kevin and Sami to win it.
Yeah.
So I'm clinging on to that because they even said that they've shifted the story because of how popular this one is at the moment. So I still want it to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I don't want anything to alter that state because I like the idea of Kevin and Sami being tag team champions and how they win it as well. It is meaningful. I don't mind if it goes to WrestleMania. It's approaching WrestleMania season when the Usos are gonna need a tag team to face at WrestleMania. So I'd rather it to be Kevin Owens and Sami. So the idea is interesting. If it wasn't a record-setting title reign, it was just a frivolous title reign. But because of how much is at stake with this title reign at the moment, I don't want anything frivolous. We're not gonna have a European title debacle with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
That's fair. Yeah.
No.
Sky Shadowrun said, I really loved your ideas for potential war games and chamber stories in yesterday's podcast. However, I'm also really into the idea of Bloodline versus New Day and Brutes at war games. Usos New Day has always been a fun matchup, and I know Trips will deliver.
Yeah, I think that works. Like, if you're looking at people to add to the other side of war games, I think the New Day are a perfect pair to add to that. If you don't want to do like Drew and Kevin Owens or whatever, if you're just looking for the people that are currently feuding with them, I think that might telegraph who's going to win. I don't necessarily think that the good guy team at that point has as much of a shot at winning that match, unless they really want to push Sheamus hard as a potential challenger for the end of the year or something, which I guess could be a possibility.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think the way that it's constructed there, it would be the Bloodline winning that match, which I don't think is as interesting.
Yes, I agree with that. But yeah, I'm still into the idea of Bloodline in war games, regardless. We'll go through more of your Ultra Chats later on, but for now, let's get into talking about the rest of the show. Keep sending those into WrestleTalk.com/support. This friggin' tablet is doing my head in, and we're going to talk about the rest of SmackDown and Rampage, and then we'll get back to your Ultra Chats later. This SmackDown kicked off with a match again.
Yeah!
They were on a really good run of doing that.
No
Please
promo,
keep doing that.
No promo, no 20-minute promo.
Goodness me, I prefer it so much. It's always going to get a thumbs up from me. Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville had a no DQ match in the latest installment of Liv Morgan is Extreme Now. I thought this was a lot of fun. This kind of started off quite hot. Sonya Deville just kind of came on and just started beating her up straight away. The crowd were chanting for tables about 30 seconds into it. Classic. And it was classic like babyface heel stuff. Liv tries to go get a table. Sonya puts it away. And like, oh, boo, we want the tables. I really liked the little spot they did with that table, though.
I was going to bring this up.
Where they... Sonya Deville was going to do a German off the apron through the table on the outside. She's trying, and initially Morgan was resisting, kind of like elbowing her in the back and being like, no, I don't want to do it. And then she just kind of stopped for a second and just went, screw it. And then just jumped. So her and Sonya Deville went through the table. I was like, that's a really nice touch to show like the next like layer of her character to be like, she's a bit more reckless now. She's totally okay with taking a bit of pain if it means hurting her opponent. Like that's cool. That's a nice little character moment.
I liked it a lot more in this match than I did in the Ronda Rousey match, where she's smiling as she's passing out and everything, because it's like, yeah, you're extreme, but you are losing your championship this way, you know? Whereas this, like, Minoru Suzuki-esque reaction to, like, yes, I will endure pain because I like pain if it means that I get to hurt my opponent, that works a lot more when there's less on the line other than just pain. And to do that, I think, is a good way of showing rather than telling that Liv Morgan is extreme.
Precisely.
Show, don't tell. I refer to her as Spike Dudley now because she likes to be chucked off and held into different places. So that's how I feel about her. Liv Morgan, hardcore legend. That's her gimmick now. She's going to start wearing flannel shirts soon and shoving socks down, you know, people's throats. Who knows? That might be a thing.
Sounds great. We had some other very fun spots in this one. There was a powerbomb onto a pile of chairs.
Ouch.
Ow. And that was a really like a snap powerbomb. It was like a really quick like woof, down you go, and then immediately into a pin. I was like, this is the end. Oh my god, that's weird. Really good near fall.
It was like that Eddie Guerrero Lita powerbomb we were watching in that,
Yes,
that 2000s episode of Raw from like a month ago.
Oh god, yeah, that was something else. Because Luke is on a mission to watch every Raw from the year 2000. So every so often on a lunch break, he'll just shove on an episode of Raw and we'll sit down and we'll watch a bit while we're just having lunch. And there was this match. Who was in the match?
Dean Malenko and S.A. Rios for the light heavyweight title.
Thank you very much. So on the outside, you had Eddie Guerrero and Lita, right? And Eddie Guerrero does this powerbomb to Lita out of nowhere. It is brutal.
It's sickening.
It is sickening.
I would have retired.
The way her body folded it.
Like, you know how Eddie Guerrero does these type of moves. Like, he's very dynamic and explosive. So it's not like, let me set this woman down easily on the concrete here. It's like, boom!
Yeah, and it's not like a sit-out powerbomb or anything like that to help like with the momentum down. It's literally just like, you're here, and now you're on the floor. Bang! Straight down. It's like, oh!
Everyone watching was like, oh my god!
And then they showed a replay. We were like, oh no! Absolutely cringing on our seats. But anyway, that's besides the point. Fun near fall with the powerbomb on the chairs. And then Liv one with the Oblivion onto the same pile of chairs as well. Fun little finish. Good paced match. Liv gets another win. Good stuff.
In terms of just like paying off a 2-week feud, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But what do you do with Sonya next? Because we know where Liv's
no,
I don't
rehab
care.
I care way more about this Liv Morgan stuff right now. They have me way more invested in the Liv Morgan stuff right now. So I think it is much more important that Liv got the win here to solidify herself here. We can do something else with Sonya Deville after, but right now the important thing is
Do you
Liv.
think she needs a show change? Maybe she should go to Raw. Do you think that's what they should do with her? I mean,
I don't think it matters, honestly. Like, she's a talented performer. Now is not the right time for like Sonya Deville to be having a push.
No.
I think she serves just as fine a purpose right now, helping to get other people over in
Precisely.
storylines like this right now. Whereas, like, I think you can have her time in the sun wait a little bit longer. There isn't a need to push her right now.
Exactly. I think there's other priorities currently that they have.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We got a recap of Emma's return from last week. She then gets interrupted by Xia Li backstage. Xia Li said, "You're weak," and then Emma hit her.
Oh, it telegraphs like who's gonna win that match. Yeah. Emma just come back. Xia Li not really doing much with her. I said in the office that I was a fan of the vignettes and how she was the protector, and I liked the fact that she was going to protect the weak. And then all of a sudden they changed her during the Vince administration and made her into a stereotypical foreign bully because Vince can't comprehend that people that are not American can be nice people too. And now she's in this zone of suckage, and now she's going to lose to Emma. I wish they can do more with Xia Li.
Got to get out of the suckage zone.
Yeah, that's totally sex tape. Yeah, for this one, see, this is what I mean. In the difference, when people are talking about, like, you know, on like when we were talking about the Bloodline in the podcast yesterday, and saying how all the characters you can see like their motivations and everything like makes sense and it's logical and all that stuff. This is like the opposite of this. Well, I have no idea what Xia Li's motivation is here. She just came in and said, "You're weak because you lost." Like. Right, but what's the point of Xia Li saying that? What does she want to gain from doing this? What does she want out of this? I don't know. And this is the very like superficial layer of wrestling that we've had for ages, and which is why stuff like the Bloodline is such a breath of fresh air because it's different.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. Just wanted to make that point. So I was like, this is a stereotypical segment, and this is why it's not as good.
It was like, how can we make them have a match? Just interrupt her and insult her, and that's it.
That is it. How can we make them have a match?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the Bloodline stuff as being like incredibly multi-dimensional. This was literally as one-dimensional as you can get.
Precisely.
Sometimes that's fine, but like, you know.
Yeah.
For again, someone like Xia Li who came in with like a really cool series of vignettes and supposedly had a character. Now she just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like, I would prefer if she did.
And also, what's Emma's character? Yeah, she was gone for a long time. It's like, why should we cheer her in a way? If she did lose, it's like, there's no reason for us to cheer her. It's just like, it's because...
It's a welcome back.
It's how we're positioning her. Because she's saying nice things at the moment. Saying nice things is not enough. I need a motivation, a reason. Heck, they should have done vignettes with her. Instead of doing a backstage promo, it should have been seeing how her getting fired affected her psyche and how she had to wrestle around and prove herself.
Her story, rehabilitation.
The Drew McIntyre storyline, basically.
Yeah,
they should have given her that in the beginning.
To be fair, it is only the second week, and I will allow them
time.
a little bit more time in that sense to, like, if she wins the match with Xia Li like next week and then cuts a promo and says all of that, I think that's a totally fine way to bring her back. But otherwise, if we get to this point a month from now and there hasn't been any character development there, that's when I'll agree.
No offense, but it's kind of like, I feel like she's gonna be the Candice LeRae thing, because even Candice LeRae is like, we're meant to just to cheer for her, but why should I cheer her? Yeah. She's mentioned Johnny Gargano.
She helped the good person.
Yeah, she had a good. Yeah,
therefore you should help.
I feel like Emma's gonna be stuck. Everyone needs motivations. I think you can't rely on being on the internet and knowing about these people to being the only reason why we should cheer or boo them.
For sure. I will also say though, on the flip side of that, some stuff that is one-dimensional can also be good. For example, Ricochet versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
This was pretty one-dimensional, but I also had a bit of fun in this match.
Yeah.
Because I said in my edited review that you guys will watch later today that I've always been a big fan of Ricochet's in-ring work because he's amazing, and I've always been a fan of LA Knight's promo work. It's been really good. I didn't expect to enjoy this match as much as I did. Going into this, it was pretty much no story. It was them, they were backstage and they had pretty much the same segment as Emma and Xia Li, and that like, I don't like you. Okay. And that was pretty much it. And then LA Knight did a promo on the entrance for this match, which you pointed out when you were watching in the office. He started ragging on the ring announcer. Didn't put two and two together. That's Ricochet's girlfriend. Yeah,
that's my fanfic.
That makes sense.
That's my story.
That checks out. So Ricochet started the match by doing like a big dive to the outside, and I was like, okay, cool. And even though there's basically no story here, I think these guys have actually really good chemistry, and I felt like a little layer of like heat in this story, even though there isn't a story. I felt like there was like some sort of like personal vendetta against each other through their wrestling, and I'm like, that's really good. Came out of that being like, damn, all right, cool. That was a really good match. They had LA Knight do like a springboard moonsault that he missed, which was cool. Trying to do like the high flying thing for the high flyer. Didn't work. It's like, that's a cool like story beat. And LA Knight got the win with a roll up. Like Ricochet rolled him up, he countered the roll up and then grabbed the ropes. Boo, hiss, he's a heel, and got the win. I thought that was a really good job, all in all. Yeah. Everyone here.
My response to the whole one-dimensional thing is I think it works a lot better when the heel's the one coming out on top in that kind of story, because you can have the heel doing something dastardly, which is as simple as just being rude to the backstage interviewer or calling out the ring announcer or something like that. And the babyface doesn't really need that much more of a reason to, interject into all that other than just being valiant, being the good guy, sticking up for the little people.
Having morals.
Yeah, having morals. Whereas on the flip side with the Xia Li stuff, it's like, well, no, the villain does kind of need more of a reason to get involved in this hero's business other than just, nah, you're a loser.
Yeah.
So I think it works a lot better when this is the way that things are kind of oriented. And yeah, I thought the match was really solid. I do kind of weep for Ricochet at this point, where it's like, even with the new regime, he's not really in that much better of a position. He's just getting to wrestle his style a little bit more, which is a big step forward.
Sure is.
But even still, want more from my boy.
Absolutely.
That being said, in terms of introducing LA Knight as LA Knight, I think he's a perfectly solid upper mid-card act right now.
Question, do you think this is a feud end or a feud starter? Or is it you want to see some 50-50 booking between them?
I hope not 50-50, but this is definitely a feud starter because LA Knight won with a roll-up, grabbing the ropes. Yeah. This might lead to a match at War Games.
I agree with everything you said. Like Ricochet at the moment, he seems to be, I don't want to say jobber to the stars, but if you see him in a match, you're like, he's not going to win it, especially with the new guys that Triple H is either brought back or brought up because he's just trying to establish them. He's someone you can rely on to bring out a decent match in someone. LA Knight, I said he got to go in his bag of tricks and do some Eli Drake stuff because that's kind of stuff he used to do, him doing springboard stuff. He had a match with Penta in Impact one time where he did a lot of springboard stuff. That's why I brought up, like, did you know that LA Knight can actually do stuff as well? And then you said, watch the match.
I was like, just watch the match,
and then I was like, he tried the moonsault. I was like, because he didn't do it in NXT. Not even like one time. I can't remember him doing anything athletic.
Yeah, that checks out.
Ricochet is kind of like SmackDown's version of a babyface Chad Gable, where he's like,
Yeah.
his presentation is better since Vince left, but he's not winning more. Feels like he's just kind of running in place until it's his time to get a push.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of like, oh, Solo Sikoa's been called up. We need him to have a good first match. Let's put him with Ricochet. LA Knight needs to have his first matches. Let's put him with Ricochet.
Yep.
I think that works. But again, same way as on Raw, where it's like, I would like to see Chad Gable get a push at some point.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be right now,
No.
but I do hope that it's coming.
Yeah.
Solid hand disease.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of solid, the Bloodline were backstage. And Sammy Uso and Jey Uso get into it backstage, as expected.
Shocker.
Where Jey says, you know, we should go out to the ring and tell the Brawling Brutes what's coming to them. Crown Jewel. And Sammy was like, don't do that. That's a bad idea. The match has already been made. It won't get you anything. Just don't. Jey comes back and says, this isn't a Bloodline thing. This is an Uso thing. We've been tag champions since before you were here, and we'll be tag champions long after you're gone. And I was like, so that, for me, even though we know that obviously Jey Uso wants Sammy gone from the Bloodline, for me, like him vocalizing that and being like, no, you will be kicked out of this group one way or another. I will see to it.
Existence.
Yeah, speaking it into existence, be like, you will be gone from this group one day, just so you know, was like a really cool like moment for me to be like, yeah. So it's like a bit more clear to be like, he wants him gone, like real bad. That's like on his mind a lot.
Well, what I like was how Jey manipulated the argument to where Jimmy couldn't go. Actually, no, he's like, it's true. We existed before you, Sammy. He appealed to Jimmy's ego. He's like, you know what? Jay's right. We don't need you. We do whatever we want. Because usually Jimmy's trying to be the peacemaker or see things from Sammy's point of view. But Jey was smart enough to know, like, this ain't Bloodline. This got nothing to do with Roman. Jimmy, we don't need Roman. We are champions without Roman. We're going to keep it that way. So, yeah, I like that how it appealed to Jimmy's ego.
Yeah.
Layers upon layers.
Layers. Love that Jimmy sided with Jey. Because for the most part, Jimmy sided with Sammy for a lot of this story. But beyond everything else, he's still loyal to his brother. Yeah. And like that's like a cool thing to remember to go forward.
Yet another layer to all of this. Oh, the story is so good.
So good.
So good.
It's so basic. It's so good.
So good.
So good.
We then had the Bray Wyatt promo that we've already mentioned. And then the Usos came out to the ring, who I believe literally said... aside from the we're going to be the longest reigning tag champions, in regards to what Jey wanted to say to the Brawling Brutes was, hey, Brawling Brutes, you the twos and we the ones.
Got him. This was the let's go to the ring and say our catchphrase.
Yeah.
When
don't know if that segment was necessary, Jey. I'll be honest, mate.
When they say they are the twos, as in that number two, the doo-doo number two.
You're poop.
That's what he said.
And we're piss.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, there we go. I was thinking, I was like, oh, he burned them. What? There are two people. You're ones. Yeah, because you're twins. Yeah, I get that. Like, what? Oh, Jey.
Anywho, or in this case, any poo, all right?
Airline dub. Love it.
Christ, it's hot in this room. The Usos then came out and said their thing. They get interrupted by the New Day.
Yes,
they've got 9 days until they pass the New Day's longest title reign.
Is it only that many?
It's only 9 days until they pass
snuck up on me.
Which means they have one more SmackDown before that title reign they pass the longest title reign ever. Which is why this set up next week on SmackDown, New Day versus the Usos, obviously. It's not going to be the Brawling Brutes, even though they really tried and they were like, could be the Brawling Brutes. Like, it's not though, is it?
It's not.
It's going to be New Day versus Usos next week on SmackDown for not just the titles, but the longest title reign. I think that is a great idea. We've been saying it for ages that this is where they should be going, and they've been teasing going. Now they're doing it. I'm all for it. It feels like it's a big deal. Lots of stakes in this match.
I'm kind of saddened. New Day needed like a 20-year run of being longest tag champion like Demolition before they lose it, but they had it for a few years. I wanted to have...
To be fair, it was like 6 years.
Demolition had it for like, what, 30 years?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's because they didn't care about tag teams for 30 years.
Can we just pretend we don't care about it now? Because I like the thing that was New Day's thing. That's like the Hall of Fame speech. Now it's not. It's like second. It doesn't ring the same. Usos already Usos.
They have been champions like 12 times or something.
Have they?
Something like that.
Yeah,
It's like 11 or 12.
Well, New Day.
Yeah.
Okay, we can run with that. Then be the longest champion.
Even if they don't have the best of one thing, you can quite comfortably say that they're one of the best tag teams of all time.
Yeah.
They are, but yeah. I mean, Dudley Boys are a good tag team. Look, they're hard to get mentioned nowadays. That's what I mean. Like,
do they? When people talk about the best tag teams of all time, the Dudley Boys don't get brought up?
No, because they're not really fan favorites nowadays because of a certain person, the Busted Open podcaster.
Well, yeah. But also, people bring up Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. That's like the go-to for best tag teams of all time.
But then, like, now the Big Show of the group now.
Wow.
Crikey. Scathing.
Take that, Dudley Boys.
I love Dudley Boys. I don't mind the Busted Open announcer like some people, but I don't see it that much on consensus on Twitter. Not that much.
The more you know. Rey Mysterio cut a promo backstage ahead of his main event match. Thought it was a pretty solid promo. Just being like, I'm going to be IC champ. I'm going to prove my son that you can't give up when things get tough. That
was a Jey Uso promo, as in he said that kind of thing before. It's like, say something more. Say something more, Ray.
Yeah, that's fair. But someone I did really like was Shayna Baszler taking on Natalya. Not the match itself. That was whatever. But Shayna was accompanied by Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Thumbs up from me. That's fun. They said on commentary, it was like, Shayna Baszler taking on her former tag team partner. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing as well.
I forgot that was a thing.
What?
Shayna Baszler and Natalya were a tag team.
Yeah, I still remember Tamina
They were tag
and
champs.
Natalya. Wait, no, it was Tamina
They
and
were
Natalya.
tag champs.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Baszler and Natalya were tag champs.
Them
When?
two together.
When?
No
Yeah.
way.
When? What question are you asking right now?
No.
Shayna and Natty were tag champions?
Yeah, they were.
Shayna Baszler.
No, they weren't.
Natalya.
Shayna and Nia were tag champs, and Natty and Tamina were tag champs.
Yeah, not them together.
Surely.
Shayna and Natty.
Surely.
Is it Oscar like?
Am I misremembering?
Yeah.
You must be. These tag titles barely exist at all, but like
what he said.
That's news to me.
And a two-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion with Nia Jax. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say.
Me there,
All right. I'm misremembering.
It was a rando tag team that didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of like,
Fact check.
Fact check.
Fact
check. My sign. No, it's okay. It's a very delicate set. We only
Just
rearrange every day.
double checking.
Oh, he's double checking just to be sure, guys.
WWE Women's Tag Team Championship with Nia Jax twice. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I'm misremembering. But former tag team partners, regardless. I think
you say so.
They probably challenged for the titles.
They did. It was like a last. Is Vince? Vince. Paul Levesque put them together when the tag team tournament thing. It's like you be a team. You be a team.
That sounds about right. Anywho, they really wanted to hype up on commentary the old school Shayna Baszler. They were like, "Oh, the killer Shayna Baszler is back." And I said, if you want to make her a killer, I'd have her win quite decisively
and
in this
bite
match.
people in the neck.
No.
Not that. But I really liked the finish of this match. I wouldn't have given Natalya as much offense as she got in this one. If you want to kind of establish Shayna as this like killer, I wouldn't have given Natalya this much offense. But I quite like the finish where Baszler got in the Kirifuda. Natalya tried to do that roll up that they always do for the Kirifuda.
My least favorite finish.
It's not great.
It worked when Brett did it, and since then it hasn't worked for anyone else.
Yeah.
No, it's worked too often for It's the most overused finish / counter to the Kirifuda clutch, and I hate it, and I want people to stop doing it.
Yeah. But she tried to do that roll up, and Baszler was like, no. So just rolled her back and just held on. It was just like, and then choked her out. I just liked it. It's like a subversion of what you expect from that roll up spot, because you'd expect her to just release the hold, but instead she was like, no, and just pushed her back to where she was. But then I was like, okay, and the commentary putting over, wow, this is like the original Shayna Baszler is back in town, and I was like, haven't really seen it from the match.
Show don't tell, guys, right?
Yeah.
Show don't tell.
Yeah. Show don't tell, and this wasn't quite that. But then afterwards, she put her knee pad down, and I was like, okay, what's this leading to? And she just kneed Natalya in the face, and I was like, cool. That's nice.
It's a bit closer.
And then they had like all this fake blood of Natalya looking like she had a broken nose, and she was like, and I was like, you know what? That's an effective look right there. That's a cool visual of Natalya like bleeding from her nose. It just looked kind of a bit more brutal.
Show don't tell.
Show don't tell.
Yeah.
That was it. It was great.
When can we get Shayna and Ronda to win these tag titles?
That'll be great. Once
post crown jewel.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Once Ronda loses the tag title. I mean, Ronda loses her title. I mean,
I don't think she's going to lose that title anytime
Double
soon.
champion. You want double champion.
Double
Two-belt
champion.
Ronda.
Seems alright.
I don't think she's losing that title before WrestleMania.
Nah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Who's
say
she
so.
going to lose it to? There's no one on this show. She would only possibly lose it back to...
Whoa.
What, Becky?
Becky's not on this show.
So listen, they make things up. She's
You-
big time
They make
Bex.
things up.
They do. I'm big time Bex. I can go wherever I want. Whatever
Yeah.
I want, you know. Whoa.
I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but at the same time,
She won't.
there's no one on SmackDown to lose this title to.
You mean the
Not-
queen?
Not
The
until,
opportunity.
Yeah, not until Charlotte comes back, that is.
Yeah.
The queen.
And we can't wait to see another Charlotte Ronda match, because I haven't seen that enough.
What, booked under Triple H? Yeah, I'm excited for that. Is that sarcasm?
SmackDown's
Yes.
women's division in shambles.
Yeah, it's not great.
It is, man.
It's not great.
It's like, it's wastage. It's like nothing means anything. It's just like
Yeah.
meaningless existence.
We got a video package for Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. Cool. We then got the announcement that it's going to be Asuka and Alexa Bliss versus Damage Control rematch for the women's tag titles at Crown Jewel.
This has made me more confident in my predictions battle with Ollie Davis for one reason only. I think this match exists to have the first ever women's title change in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's fun.
And that, because I thought that as well about Bayley and Bianca. And now with this match on the show, I think Bianca stands a better chance of retaining her title.
You think? I feel like Damage Control might wipe out the whole thing and walk out champions together in the end.
Totally possible.
Totally possible, but I don't know. I'm trying to galaxy brain this. I want to keep this title. I need all the gold.
Yeah.
I want you to. Yeah, you need.
We need LIW to hold all the
I
gold.
need you to
That's right.
legitimize
Yeah.
why I'm here.
We then had Braun Strowman come out. MVP cut a promo in saying that he's pulled the strings and he's got 5 opponents for Braun. So 5 local lads come out. Braun Strowman comes out and just bats them all on the entrance. Kind of like the same spot they did with Maximum Male Models. Pretty much exactly the same thing. They're in the same spot and then his music hit and they go, oh no! And then he hits them. And then he power slams MVP a few times.
Fine.
Tempest, you had a line about what
fine.
Braun did to the guys.
Did I?
Yes.
They exploded.
They did explode.
There was men exploding.
Men exploded.
Yeah.
And you sang that song.
It's raining men.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
It's exploding,
Hallelujah,
man.
exploding, man. We've changed the lyrics for royalty reasons.
For royalty reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
We had to change the lyrics.
I thought this was fine. I thought it was a bit of a waste of the local talent. I thought it would have been cool to see Braun actually beat him up.
Yeah.
Rather than just do the and then they're gone.
Did you really care? It's like bowling alley
I mean,
pinballs. Just
Not particularly, but like Braun got over in the first place by beating up local talent.
He did.
So I would have thought it would have been like, pick up 3 of them at the same time. Braun can do that. All of them were pretty small. Like, that'd be a cool thing,
I don't think it matters too much one way or the other.
Not
but
really.
if I was booking it, I'd probably have him beat 5 people instead of just running through them.
Yeah.
Then being people accuse him that they're booking him like, Wardlow. There already is like rippling like he's getting pushed like Wardlow with the power bombs and stuff like that. And
he was.
What is it, a copying homework situation? It's like
Wardlow's not the first guy to get the Goldberg push by any means.
No, absolutely not.
It's more of a Wardlow push where he just power bombs people 10,000 times, spams them like a video game.
When Braun was just doing the power bombs, I was like, that's a direct ripoff. Now he's doing power slams. I'm like, that's a bit different.
That's his old finisher, the one that Lashley couldn't use anymore because Braun was doing it. And he had to use another move.
Gunther did a promo backstage saying he was going to win. And then we got an announcement. Next week on SmackDown, we're doing the SmackDown World Cup.
Random.
What's that?
I don't know, Tempest. What is it?
What's that?
Football.
Footy.
Or soccer for Americans.
Football.
Football.
I don't know. It's a tournament of some kind, I'd assume.
It's a World Cup. You win a World Cup, but what
Shane
you win
McMahon's
after?
gonna win it.
Best wrestler in the world. I don't. What is it? Who's in it? What's the prize? What's going on?
I think nationalities. They're gonna do nationalities, isn't it?
I'd say so.
It's a World Cup. I mean, you got certain people from that continent,
And Triple H loves doing that.
Yeah.
He did it on all the promotion for the Heritage Cup, I want to say.
Yeah.
For NXT UK was all like the country stuff. He did it for like the Cruiserweight Classic. Yeah. People had like where they were from and all that stuff.
You remember when they did the World Cup to determine the best in the world, and it was 8 Americans.
Yeah. And it was won by Shane McMahon.
Yeah, it was.
Nakamura is going to be facing Santos Escobar next week, and we got a promo.
I'm worried about that.
We got a promo from Legado del Fantasma, which I really liked. Really liked this
Santos
promo.
is great.
I love that they have, me and you mentioned this back in the NXT days when you had Hit Row, Legado, and people like that doing promos in different places and having their own cinematic style to it. Just adds to their character, makes 100%. Them feel unique and different. It's great.
It was always a thing that killed me when they would do NXT call-ups. Like Tyler Breeze does his cell phone selfie promos, and then he goes to the main roster and he's just doing regular backstage promos with an interviewer. It's like, no, he's special because he's different in that way. As soon as you make him just another guy, that's how everyone sees them.
Yeah.
If you just had everybody in Legado just doing the same promo but backstage with an interviewer, it's not as effective.
I agree.
Who do you think they'll win, Escobar or Nakamura?
Escobar.
Escobar.
Nakamura got the good win last week.
Yeah.
Now Santos can win.
It's true, but I just don't want Nakamura to lose it. Like kind of like with Ricochet, you want more from him in this regime. Nakamura's another guy we want more for. And then if he loses to Escobar, it's great for Escobar. I want him to win. So I'm of two minds because Escobar is someone I wanted on the main roster a year ago, a year or two ago, because I felt like he's been ready for a long time. And it would be a great feather in his cap, but I want more for Nakamura too. Can I have both?
I do as well, but I think similar to earlier with the Liv Morgan stuff, there's other priorities right now. And the priority is establishing Santos Escobar on the main roster.
It's true.
I've also just given up hope on Nakamura.
On Nakamura.
Nakamura's too late.
Although his time was SummerSlam when he lost to Jinder Mahal. That was his time to become WWE champion, and they were like, nah, Jinder. Like,
so stupid. I also, the people watching the podcast will notice I just had like a far off look, and I was like, because I just started thinking about Shinsuke Nakamura. I was just like, yeah, well, my real test to see if Shinsuke Nakamura still got it will be his match with Keiji Muto next year.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, Keiji Muto doesn't exactly have it.
I'm about to say
anymore
that.
Either.
Yeah.
But if his presentation in a Japanese match is going to be different, that'll kind of be my indication about whether or not this is simply a WWE thing. But then I was like, wait a minute. What if he's got Subconscious back as his music? The best goddamn entrance theme ever.
It's a New Japan theme.
Yeah.
I
love that song.
Yep.
Love that song.
He never changed it. He wore face. He kept it throughout. You really love that song.
Love it.
We then had the main event, Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio died. The end.
Damn.
This was fun.
Everything I wanted it to be.
Yep. This was so much fun. I don't know how Rey Mysterio is this good still.
He is turning 48 in like a month.
Yeah. It's kind of
madness.
Kind of wild how good he still is. The first part of this match was exactly what you thought it was going to be. Gunther just manhandling Rey Mysterio, just chucking him around, throwing him into the corner, chops, the whole lot, just beating him down. Very enjoyable beatdown to watch. And this is what I've been talking about in other weeks and stuff, where you can have like a heel beatdown that's not boring. It's this. And then I was like, man, I'm really enjoying Gunther beating up Rey Mysterio. Then Rey started to get back into the match. And I was like, I like this even more. Him with his hope spots coming back, the crazy counters that he was doing, just like the flurry of little offense gets shuts down by Gunther, and then he'd do another little flurry of offense. And it was like, those little hope spots were so good. I don't know how the physics works for this, where Gunther's doing a second rope powerbomb, gets him up for it, leans off the ropes, and then they counter it into a Hurricane Run. It's like, the powerbomb's already started. How'd you get the torque? How'd you get the momentum to do... Whatever. They did it. The crowd were going a bit nuts later on in this match as well, which is great, because this was a pre-taped SmackDown as well. And the crowd was still hot. Great. So they were going a bit nuts, really into every near fall. There was a really good near fall where Gunther did his shotgun drop kick to the corner, straight into a powerbomb, and I was like, well, that's it. Great finish to the match.
Yep.
Nope, that's a 2 count. I was like, what? That's cool. They had a really good spot that you mentioned as soon as you saw it, where Rey got him into the 619 position, bounced off the ropes, and got back up, and Gunther had already stood up. So he just drop kicked him again to put him back into the 619 position, then hit the 619. I was like, that's just nice.
It was a really good spot because both guys kind of were telegraphing what they were going to do. Where it was that thing where like the heel gets set up for the 619, but they're kind of looking over their shoulder the whole time. Like they're waiting for Rey to hit the ropes. But Rey was also looking at him while he was doing it. So it was this thing where it's like the counter is being countered in a very realistic way. And I was watching the whole thing on like unwind. And I was going like, if this is just Walter turns around and hits him, I'd be like, that is telegraphed too much. But because the telegraph was telegraphed, I was like, it's perfect wrestling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
God, it's so good, isn't it? And you know what was even better? Was the actual bloody finish. I love this so much because it was that spot again of going for the 619. Gunther gets up, smacks him with a big boot, and then he's on the floor. He grabs his arm and literally, with one movement, throws him up into the air with his arm and then just swats him. Bang! Out the air. And then he just pins him. I was like, that's perfect.
Perfect finish.
What a finish. It's absolutely spot on. What I love about Gunther/Walter matches is that he has so many unique finishes. We've spoken about this before, that he always ends a match in a unique way. And he gets over a different finish. So when he does stuff like the drop kick into the powerbomb in the corner and you go near for, you go, oh my God, he won with a match. Won a match with that before. And this time, he's such a master of in-ring psychology that it never feels cheap.
Yeah.
Whenever he does a unique finish, you're like, oh, you never think like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That was a bit anticlimactic. It always works and it always feels right. And this was another example where it was sort of a clothesline-ish. It was perfect though.
Yep.
Fit exactly what the match was.
I want Gunther to be the longest Intercontinental champion of all time. I want him to
That'd be
break.
amazing.
I want him to break Honky record. If there's ever a time to do it, now is the time. Santino Marella was the last time where they put it up and they didn't follow through. Of all the champions, it's not a Shinsuke situation where they give him a title and forget him for like a year and never defends the title in a pay-per-view. I feel like Gunther's title reign has legitimized the Intercontinental title again, and they should go all the way because Gunther's got a history of having long title reigns. He had a long United Kingdom championship title reign as well. Do the same thing. I want him to hold the title longer than someone has to break Honky Tonk Man's record, and I would like it to be Gunther.
Me too.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody be better at the David versus Goliath match than this guy.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, it's one thing if you have him going up against another, like, bruiser like Sheamus, and you know that match is going to be great. But it's something else when you also know that if he goes up against, like, a Tyler Bate, Rey Mysterio type, that it's also going to be great. And it's just at the point that Walter against anybody is going to be great.
Yeah.
He's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
It's almost as if Walter's great.
He's a perfect wrestler. He's a
Yes.
perfect wrestler.
Ring general.
Genuinely, he's incredible. He's one of the most impressive performers I've ever seen.
Yep. I think,
Absolutely.
If you put him against pretty much anyone, he'll fit the match to fit the wrestler's style. And that is so good. Oh,
If he holds this title until like WrestleMania, I think you could make a legit case that he's the best Intercontinental champion of all time.
Wow.
Who's
a hell of a
currently
claim.
the best IC champion in your mind?
I don't know. It's like a weird middle ground for a lot of people. There's like an upper tier of Intercontinental champions. I don't know if there's like a definitive one because like Jericho never had like a great Intercontinental championship reign. He just held it a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
Miz?
No.
I do not give Miz any credit for that. Like,
What?
He had a good month in 2016 where he had a good Talking Smack segment and then he had a good match with Dolph Ziggler. But otherwise, I do not care. I do not care. He was facing Apollo Crews at SummerSlam a month before that in a match no one cared about and it was like a 2-star match. A month before that, he was facing Darren Young in a match no one cared about.
Rob Van Dam?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
great matches.
again, there's a lot of people in that kind of tier, that upper tier, like the Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage kind of tier of like great Intercontinental champions. I think just from match quality wise, I think Walter is already like surpassing all of them.
He's put on some absolute bangers so
I
far.
agree, by the way. That's a hot take. Sizzling hot take here by LIW, baby.
Overall, then, I thought it was a very enjoyable episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really decent mix of building to Crown Jewel. Had some good, like, for a go-home show, there wasn't anything that's like, oh, I have to watch Crown Jewel now or anything like that, which you could say is a detriment to this one. But I think it was a decent mix of building to Crown Jewel and making you interested in that show, but also making you excited for what comes after.
Yeah.
And it's saying, like, well, next week we've got this thing, and we've got this other feud that's building over here. I thought it was a really good mix of that on this show, and while it was... You could tell they didn't have as many people, like some of the people had gone to Saudi and stuff like that. They'd covered their bases and they'd left a good show behind as well. And this was
that's
enjoyable.
my thing. We've said a lot of the times where it's like when the Bloodline stuff isn't focused on, it feels like there isn't a focus to that episode of SmackDown. This didn't really feel like that because, Because we had the Walter and Rey Mysterio match that had been built up properly and was the focus of this episode of SmackDown. And as long as you have that thing filling that void, I think it's totally fine to not have the Bloodline on every single show.
Absolutely.
And also the Bray Wyatt storyline also anchored the episode as well. I feel like Bray Wyatt, since he's come back to SmackDown, has added a lot to SmackDown because he used to be like heavily reliant on the Bloodline. Like you said, if it ain't Bloodline heavy, the show's not worth watching. But they've got layers now, and like you guys mentioned, they had a title match. We were looking forward to it. A bit of a dream match because you had someone that's the best in their field. I mean, Rey Mysterio is one of the best high flyers today.
Yep.
He's been around.
And one of the best like small guys.
Exactly.
Versus one of the best big guys.
When they had the face off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Gunther kind of looked like Great Khali for a bit. Face off. Like, the guy's big, but yeah. So this SmackDown, even though there wasn't something that headlined like in terms of newsworthy, the match was great. Bray was great, and Shayna's been rehabilitated. Liv's push is looking much better than it did last week.
Oh, for sure.
So there's more positives than there were negative. Xia Li. But yeah.
And I'd say the stuff that wasn't as good in the show took up way less time than all the stuff that was good. So like, I'd say this is like a high 4 out of 5 show. This is really, really good.
Just watching the Miz comments rolling in.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The Miz really suck. Come on.
Oh, I'm glad we agree.
This is what the anti-Miz channel cannot say anything nice because their boy MJF will be heartbroken.
Wait, I said nice things about the Miz. That's not true. Sat said something else about the Miz. The
Miz versus Seth Rollins for the IC title at Backlash was great.
Yeah.
Also, Miz was not the champion for that match.
He's Christmas champion for a reason.
It's good. Anyway, let's talk about Rampage.
It's Rampage.
And I mean, we're going to go over time on this show anyway, but we'll try and keep it
It's not
short.
much to talk about on this show
But
after the
we
opener.
do have the opener to talk about because I'm just going to say some sentences. Mike Tyson was on commentary. Orange Cassidy was defending his All-Atlantic Championship against Katsuyori Shibata.
Oh my god, it's Shibata!
On AEW Rampage.
Bonkers. Madness. I have some things to say about this match, believe it or not.
Please take the floor.
Well, see, here are my number of thoughts about this. Number one, I think it's weird that Shibata's first match in AEW was a loss. I think that's strange. I do acknowledge that they've absolutely booked themselves into a corner with this match where you either change the title, which you probably don't want to do because Cassidy only won it a month ago, but at the same time, you don't really want to beat Shibata. At the same time, I do think that, like you said in the office, Sat, this is the first impression a lot of people are going to have for Shibata, and just portraying these matches as dream matches doesn't quite work for me in this situation. Like, for me, yeah, I want to see Shibata versus Danielson. That's obvious. But I think you need to set him up with some wins before he's going to face Danielson to see why they're on equal tiers and everything. My other note about this is that while people were very receptive of Shibata coming out and they kind of knew that this was a big deal, I don't think very many people in the crowd there actually were familiar with him. Because there were a lot of spots in this match that, had they happened like in Japan or in front of, I don't know, a New York crowd or like the hardest of the hardcore fan base, there were a lot of spots that didn't really get much of a reaction. Like Orange Cassidy hitting the PK on Shibata, stealing his finisher, didn't really get anything. Shibata's corner drop kick didn't really get anything. A lot of those type of things where it's like trademark Shibata spots. I was like, oh my gosh, Shibata's finisher. And people were just kind of like, as if they were seeing any other spot. It didn't detract that much from the match because they were still into it. There were still "this is awesome" chants, but it did feel like this was a crowd that didn't feel familiar with this guy. The same way that like when Moxley faced Kojima at All Out, there weren't that many people cheering for Kojima's big spots. So it's like, you do the best with what you can because not every one of these, crowds are going to be familiar with the Japanese guys, but it is a bit of a shame when you look at what a match could have been. For sure. That being said, Shibata wrestled on AEW TV, and how unbelievably surreal is that?
Yeah, it was kind of insane to me because I'm not familiar with Shibata's work as well because when I first started hearing about New Japan and understanding that was after Shibata's incident and everything. So everything that I've heard about Shibata was retroactive, and just seeing him wrestle here, I was like, man, he was great, wasn't he?
Sure was.
Like seeing just his the fluidness with how he moved and the speed in which he got into certain holds and things like that. I'm like, man, this guy was great.
Everything matters. Every spot matters. It's not just a transition. Every hold has a meaning. That's why Shibata is one of the greatest in the ring. And like what Tempest said, I didn't like that was a lot of people's first impression because what's going to happen when we finish Bryan Danielson? Obviously, we've yet to see Tony Khan let a Japanese New Japan guy go over his guys. He's obviously going to have a 0-2 record unless they pad it up in dark and make him mean something. So they put themselves into a corner.
Shibata
Why?
Dark.
Yeah, listen, they did Minoru Suzuki on YouTube or Dark or whatever. So
that was on Rampage, technically.
The Rampage buy-in.
Yeah, the
whatever.
Rampage buy-in.
Rampage, potato, same thing.
It's against Danielson, it's fine.
What I'm saying is, I hope they do better with him next time because he has two matches in mind. Unless they can convince him, hey, do you want to beat a couple of Jericho Appreciation Society guys? Be an honorary member of the BCC because you kind of match the vibe. But they should have done more to video packages, something to make people understand that this guy's coming back. It's like Bryan Danielson coming back from the concussion by another company. They're making him lose. You know what I'm saying? It means something, him wrestling for the first time in 6 years. Just do more. They should have done more. But it was a great match. Orange Cassidy is a great wrestler. Despite the character, he is one of the best in-ring guys, and he deserves to win, but it should... It's kind of like the whole Sting thing in WWE for me. It's like, could have done more because Sting. It's kind of Shibata could have done more.
Yeah. I think you can get away with Shibata losing here. If you wanted to tell the story of Shibata's return, you can be like, well, he's not 100%. He's still got all this stuff. So it's like, even if Orange Cassidy isn't quite seen on the same level as Shibata in terms of their legacy and their influence in the wrestling industry, you can get away with Cassidy beating Shibata and just being like, well, Shibata's got that injury that he's never going to get over.
That's like Bryan Danielson's coming back after how many years losing to Toru Yano in the Tokyo Dome. People would have burnt that place down.
I think it's slightly different.
But Yano is a legit guy as well. He steals victory. That's his thing.
No, I know. I'm not complaining about Toru Yano. That's not the bit that I think is different. That's not the bit that I think is different. Toru Yano is amazing. I think that for this, though, the significance of him not being cleared in New Japan and having to come over here is another layer to it. Plus, I also think Shibata's injury is much more serious than Bryan Danielson's.
I know, bleeding on the brain. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's real bad.
Still love this match.
Oh, yeah. No, this is very, very good.
I wanted to weep seeing Shibata wrestle again.
He's a good boy.
I felt so bad for Shibata because literally the New Japan ascent in popularity happened as he was on his way out. Yeah. Because you literally had the Omega Okada first match in the Tokyo Dome, and 2 months later, Shibata's career ends.
Yeah.
And this is right around the time that everybody starts tuning in to New Japan World. The G1 Climax in 2017 is right around the corner. You had, Jericho coming in right around the corner from that. The second Omega Okada match was a month after that. Things just kept building after that. But Shibata kind of had to sit on the sidelines for all of it. And it's a shame because he would have been everyone's favorite wrestler had he been there.
Yeah.
Quick mention, Mike Tyson was good on commentary, much better than Jericho.
Much better than Jericho.
Wasn't bad.
Which is a low bar to get over.
Yes.
But he did it regardless.
I didn't feel like he added anything to commentary, but he didn't detract from it either.
He wasn't offensive.
Yeah, it's
offensive.
He was a fan who was on commentary and knew when not to talk over everybody.
It was. They got a fan. They dragged a fan onto commentary. They're hey, do some commentary.
It was.
We won a special prize.
Yeah.
But it's Mike Tyson.
Good job, Mike Tyson.
Tony Storm cut a promo on Jamie Hayter.
Cool.
It was all right. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli say they should both be challenging Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor title, and William Regal said that Jericho has to make a choice between them, which pays off later. We then got Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Madison Rayne and Sky Blue. Match was fine. About what you would expect. Sky Blue got worked over, but was a good underdog in this match, I thought. Jamie Hayter eventually got the win with a ripcord clothesline, or as JR says, or whatever that is.
That's what it is.
It's a ripcord clothesline, JR. That's what the commentary just said it is. That's what it is.
It's a Stone Cold Stunner, wherever that is.
Yeah. Whatever that is, who knows? So yeah, Jamie Hayter got the win, which is good because she's gonna be facing Toni Storm. Toni Storm came out after the match, does like a little face-to-face with Hayter. They have a good brawl. I thought this was a really nice brawl.
I thought this was a very effective brawl.
I could feel the heat from them from this, and a lot of times you can sense heatless brawls.
Yeah.
Especially in AEW. But you could feel the tension in this one. I thought they have good chemistry. Obviously, they have good chemistry. But yeah, I thought it was really good.
Also, Britt gave the title to Jamie.
She sure did.
To telegraph
Afterwards, yeah.
the heel turn.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, Britt Baker kind of knocked Toni Storm out with the belt and gave the belt to Jamie Hayter afterwards and was being all like nice and friendly and stuff, which means she's going to turn on Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, it was good.
I thought this was all very effective. I can't believe they haven't given a team name to Madison Rayne and Sky Blue. Like Sky, Rayne. It feels like there's something there.
Blue Rayne.
Are they actually a team?
I mean,
they've teamed a couple times.
Yeah,
now.
this is like the second time they've teamed on TV.
Sky Rayne. Yeah.
Rayne. Blue Rayne.
Blue Rayne. Blue.
There's got to be something. Someone more creative than me.
No.
Sky Blue.
Right. That's
her name.
Just
That's
her name. That's just her name, Sat.
Madison Rayne. No? Oh, crap.
That's. Yep. Jericho then answered the promo from Danielson and Claudio earlier, saying that he's going to fight both of them, but also with Sammy Guevara, and it's a fatal 4-way. Okay. I'm sure it'll be a great match.
Yep. I'm sure it will be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Sammy Guevara's going to win the title?
I would doubt it.
I would doubt it.
Would they tease it? Would they at least tease it?
They
he's
tease-
gonna lay down?
I'm
I mean, they
sure
teased some tension
he'll
here.
lie down and then roll him up or something like that.
Yeah, they tease tension here. Jericho saying like, hey, we can beat up Claudio and Danielson, and then once we've gotten rid of them, you'll know what to do. And Guevara was like, huh?
Yeah, that is true. Do what? What do I need to do? Tell me.
So, we'll see how that plays out. Can't wait. Ricky Starks came out and did a promo.
Yay!
Ricky Starks said, fans have been wanting to see Ricky Starks on AEW TV. And me and Tempest were both like, he watches the WrestleTalk podcast.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Love you, Ricky.
Yeah,
Glad to
he's
see
great.
you back.
He cuts a really good promo, as always, and enters himself into the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament.
Yay.
Good.
I hope he wins.
Me too. That'd be really cool.
Genuinely, yeah.
That'd be really, really cool if he does. I'm into it. Sammy Guevara then cut a promo.
Why?
Saying, there's no tension between me and Jericho, and also Bryan Danielson, I want another match. Okay.
He said 2 out of 3, so he can beat him twice, so he can confirm he's the best in the world, which is a good line I liked. I was like, it's true. If you beat the guy twice, you can confirm you're better than him.
Yeah.
Without doing 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
2 to 1.
Sure, it'll be a good match.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good match.
I do like that their backstage segments on this show were kind of like the tethering thread for the whole thing.
They have through line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they don't have very often on Rampage.
That's true.
Allegedly, they started bulk filming stuff so they can add it to the show. So it's starting to show.
Good.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do.
Yep. We then had the main event of Rampage, which is the Gates of Agony versus WarJoe. In the pre-match promo, Wardlow says, I don't care about this match. I care about Powerhouse Hobbs.
And he cut off Samoa Joe,
and
by
he
the
cut
way.
off Samoa Joe in his promo.
Shouldn't do that.
Don't you be doing that, Wardlow.
Joe's going to kill you.
Joe is going to kill you. There is so much beef in this segment. Wardlow, Joe, Khan, and Toa. So much beef. And then afterwards in the post-match angle, you had Powerhouse Hobbs as well. I was like, oh, that's some beefy boys right there. So yeah, it was a fine match.
It's fine.
Well, it was what it was.
People do not care about the Gates of Agony at all.
Not even a little
like
bit.
Ollie said on the Dynamite podcast. It's like they keep pushing these guys as like this threatening force, but they've like never won on TV.
Bingo. Exactly. Know it on their head. And people are like, you gotta watch Dark. You mean the Dark? You mean the Dark? I don't have much time to watch Dark.
No,
I want to watch Rampage and Dynamite. Win there. That counts. It's kind of like if the tree falls in the forest, no one hears it. Does it fall in the forest? No, it doesn't. Allegedly.
I mean, it does.
Allegedly.
Right?
Well, it does. It doesn't make a sound.
But it does. Doesn't it?
Does it?
Does it?
That's the thing. Does it make a sound? I don't know.
Does it make a sound, chat?
I don't know. Come on,
Does
chat.
it make a sound?
If the Gates of Agony went on Dark and no one's there to watch it, do they get over?
Do they get over?
No.
The answer is no.
No. So WarJoe obviously won. Wardlow got the pin. Cool. He did lots of power bombs, and I quite liked during the match though they were trying to tell the story of Wardlow being distracted by Powerhouse Hobbs. Like during the match, he was just standing on the ropes and just looking in the crowd, like looking for Powerhouse Hobbs, and I was like, that's good. You know, they're trying to tell that story. But he got the win in the end. Powerhouse Hobbs came out, but was just on the stage and was like, title, you're holding it. Title, mine. And that was that.
No, and also Samoa Joe's trying to calm him down.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And he pushed Samoa Joe out of the way. That's twice he disrespected Samoa Joe. Less has happened when Samoa Joe just snaps at someone. That, for me, telegraphed that Samoa Joe is going to cost Wardlow the TNT title and Hobbs is going to win.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
Yeah.
I think that sets up Wardlow and Joe, and that'll be a fun match, and then they'll get the title on Powerhouse Hobbs, and I'm all about that.
Yeah. All of those options sound great.
This is yet another example of the main event taking place in the opener, and the opener taking place in the main event.
Yep.
And you can't give me the excuse where it's like, oh, it was after Dynamite, so they retired. It's like, no, this one was live, so that excuse doesn't work anymore.
I genuinely think it's the time slot in that it's late, so they want to put the best thing on first. You know?
I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
Give me a reason to watch the whole show.
You're telling me my match was rubbish, so you put me on last. That's called a death spot. And you put me in the death spot.
I don't know.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's their logic.
You're probably not wrong. I'm kind of fed up with it.
Oh, yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's whatever. I end my Rampage viewing experience being like, oh, no one really cared about that match, did they? You know, which is opposed to the opener, which started really hot. It's like, yeah, I want to feel that way for the entire show, or at the very least, the end of the show. So I can finish and be like, man, what a great show that was.
Yep, absolutely. Overall, this was a fine episode. It had Shibata on it.
Yeah.
So you can't be too mad about it.
Shibata adds like a whole star to this show.
Oh, yeah.
On his own.
For sure. Yeah.
At least a whole star. I'd say this is like a high 3, low 4.
High 3, yeah. I'd say so. Yeah. I left it kind of like, it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 3.
Yeah.
Watch Shibata's match.
That's the thing that counts, yeah.
And maybe Ricky Stark's promo.
Yes.
I like Ricky Stark's.
Ricky Stark's promo was good. So before we get into the rest of your Ultra Chats here, we have to say thank you to some very special people, and those are our $25 and above Pledgehammers on our Patreon page. If you haven't been to our Patreon page yet, you should. There's lots of really good stuff on there. So much bonus content. We have got our brand new show over on partsFUNknown.
Yes.
Survival series.
Please watch it.
Which, by the way, the feedback to that has been amazing so far.
It's great.
The reception to it, people have absolutely loved that show, and we're so happy that people like it. But there is an uncut version of that where you can see all of our entire thought processes and all our respective breakdowns on Patreon. It's like an hour and 15 minutes long of all of our things back to back to back, of all of our going through all the trying to name every WWE champion. It's a wild ride. Would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. Go watch it. There are a lot of bits that couldn't make it into the final cut, but are still very good. Like a lot of Adam's working out of the WWE title going into like the Royal Rumble 2010 and being like, was that Cena? No, it wasn't. No, it was Sheamus. But wait, how did this and that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That whole bit that didn't make it in, still very fun to watch. So I would absolutely recommend going over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and checking it out.
I agree. And also, if you haven't seen the video on partsFUNknown yet, go watch it. It's good.
Please,
it's really good. We're really happy with it.
There's a Batista joke in there I really appreciate it. You have to check it out.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's a good Batista joke. So we're gonna do bumper shout outs for this one. Loads more of them because the Hall of Fame music was super duper loud on the Dynamite show and you couldn't hear what they were saying. So hopefully it's now quiet.
I can't hear it blasting through those headphones.
I can't hear it blasting through the headphones, so I'm going to assume that the level is okay. So if you pledge on our Patreon page at a $25 or above tier, you get your own custom wrestling nickname, and it gets read out on a show, much like this one. So, thank you to, we've got a list here, we'll go me, Sat, you the whole way through, okay?
Cool.
Ready? So, thank you to the $100 man, CD Horver.
Yeah. He ran, Aaron Haran.
Hanrahan, but close enough.
I can't see from that far.
The Kessel Run, DX Solo.
The Vindicator, Finn Brennan.
Double L, Liam Leonard.
The Mad Mac, the Meat Father.
Have an argy bargy margy pargy.
Abdominal Michael Abbott.
Abominable.
Abominable.
Abominable abnormal stretch.
I know, abominable.
The abnormal, abominable.
A bomb in a ball.
A bomb in a ball.
Abominable.
A bomb and a ball.
A bomb in a ball.
Abominable. Why did you come with that name?
Abominable Michael Abbott. It's not that hard.
It is hard. You say it again. Abominable.
Abominable.
Michael Abbott.
There you go, you
said
did
it. Yeah.
I'm clapping for you.
Thank you.
You're doing that.
I needed that.
Yeah.
Ryan Disco Stewart moving it along.
The roller coaster, Robert Acosta.
Chris the Cypriot Sensation.
Petru.
Petru.
Yeah.
He's no jackass, Dano.
Fantastic Mr. Good Old Fox.
The Venerable Jesse Venable.
The cleaner, Kenny Shaw.
Because Kevin Stone Khan said so.
Nathan the Street Racing Prophet Ford.
The British Bulldog, Philip Boyd J. Smith Jr.
WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez.
Ronald Coleman, baby!
WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer.
I did that one. Next one.
He can last Sean Fur longer than you in the ring.
That's funny.
Starbucks, Stephen Costa.
Shield Maiden, the Zornice.
And Will, the MS Warrior, Stewart.
Thank you for sticking with us through the bumper shout-outs. We need to do the ones from AEW.
And I can read. I can read, guys.
And you can read.
I can't, not from that angle, but I can read.
Yeah, well, that is what it is. As the news will tell you, you can read off a prompter. Let's get into the last bits of your Ultrachats here at WrestleTalk.com/support. Last chance to get those in, all the ones that are $5 and up by the time the show goes off the air. Edgar Carrasco has been a member for 12 months in a row. Love the Bloodline segments, but was I the only one who got a hint of a New Day heel turn? Loved Survival Series Tempest, LIW for life. Thank you so much. New Day heel turn?
I didn't quite see a heel turn. I mean, they all joined in on a 4-on-2 beatdown, which is a bit heelish, but that's about all I got of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't get any heel turn hints. It was just them standing up for their title reign.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Charlie Griffith said, could we see Bayley tie Belair's hair to the bottom rope to keep her down for the 10 count, and Bianca is forced to cut it to retain her title?
Interesting. She could roll to the outside and then stand on the outside. Yeah. I thought she was going to get her hair tied to the ladder and then not be able to climb. Yeah. That was the finish.
That was the finish, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it because I figured it out.
Yeah, they swerved you,
bro.
They swerved you specifically. Reese Hovenbitzer said, everyone talks about how Shane McMahon won the Best in the World tournament, but no one talks about how if Shane never inserted himself into the match, the final would have been Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz.
I was thinking this to myself literally as we were talking about that. I was like, this is so stupid. Final to determine the best in the world, Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. In a World Cup.
Yep.
Of people from Cleveland.
Wait, because it wasn't... The phrasing was stupid. I can't remember. We're over time anyway. I won't go into it. Mitchell Gillum said, would be cool if Cody won Money in the Bank, cashed in on Roman, but there's a technicality and the contract is only for the Universal title. Cody thinks it's for both belts and is forced to hand back the WWE title, letting down his dad, and it gets one belt off Roman. I hate that.
No, it sucks. No. Gosh, no.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it.
No.
On the subject of Rampage, Cassidy Delaney said, hey there, lads. Shibata just had the best match there's ever been on Rampage. I don't
say I would agree.
Yeah, I don't think it did either.
Dynamite debut, wasn't it? Dynamite debut, a very good match.
Yeah. I don't know how those are words I can say, but them also be true. But here we are. And yes, I did scream, oh God, no, when he took that DDT. So glad he's healthy.
Agreed to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was me being like, oh! when he took a DDT.
I'd say like the Moxley Yuta match was probably better than this one.
I mean, Danielson, Suzuki.
Danielson,
Kingston. Yeah.
Where did Christian and Omega's match?
Christian and Kenny for the Impact title was great. There was like a Young Bucks
that was like the
Lucha
first
Brothers.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Young Bucks Lucha Brothers matches on Rampage was brilliant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good matches.
Cassidy's only again said, I'm just so happy after everything he's been through and just almost dying. It's amazing to see him back, and I did indeed cry at the end of it. I just want to know why in the hell did it open the show? I love WarJoe, but they should not have closed the show.
I don't know either, Cassidy. We got the same mindset there, brother.
Really glad you enjoyed it though, and obviously that was deeply personal to you as well. So I'm glad that worked for you. Kevin,
sister. Cassidy is one of those ambiguous names.
They're great.
Kevin said, this daylight savings time stuff is messing with me. I keep missing the show. I really like Tyson on commentary. It felt like he cared about the product, just like Rick Ross on Wednesday.
Accusations.
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 So funny. The BCC intro yesterday with Pete and Luke being white AF was so funny. Hey man, I knew who Rick Ross was. I've listened to his music. I'm not that white, all right?
He's the biggest boss.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the pair.
He was so funny on Dynamite.
He
loved him on Dynamite.
Yeah, they should bring him back.
Accusations!
They should bring him back.
It's so funny.
Shout out to the one guy in the comments of that podcast being like, look at these 3 British guys talking about rap. 3. Yeah.
3.
This British guy.
Yeah.
You can tell by my accent.
Yeah,
absolutely,
British Columbia right here.
Yeah. Mayor of Painesville Dan said, hello, Pete, Sat, and Tempest. Love you lots. Hopefully all is well. I support your changes. People don't realize how hard you've been grinding for a very long time. You're pretty inspirational. Also, everyone go watch Survival Series. It's good. I agree.
It's really
Thank
good.
you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan, for that bit and that bit. Go watch Survival Series. Mr. Higglesby has come in to say, time to spread some love. Tempest, love the Survival Series episode. And Brain, you bring to the WrestleTalk crew. Sat, your positive energy always makes me smile. Pete, you and Luke have done a fantastic job with Monday Night War. Thank you so much. Mr. Higglesby, hate you in the game, though. Mr. Higglesby can suck my ass in the game, not the person.
Mud Mother, he said the A double crooked letter.
I did say that. You're right. And Dark and Weird has become a Memberg. Thank you. So, that was so in time. Well done, everyone.
Thank you.
Clap perfectly in sync.
You.
The first one was better.
The first one was so much better. I believe that might be it for the Ultrachats.
No,
there's one more. Kid Phantom B3 said, back from Content Club Talk. I think best thing with the titles would be, and we all know Trips loves making belts, for them to actually combine the Uwu title as one belt for and winner of Rumble versus King of the Ring winner for the new WWE Championship. Whoa, that was a lot.
Ooh.
So the winner of the Rumble and the winner of the King of the Ring fight for the WWE Championship, and Roman's belt just becomes the Universal title again.
I hate that.
Yeah.
For the sole reason that would kill the lineage of the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Never do that. It's the oldest title, one of the oldest titles.
Or would they just go Roman Reigns and then the new one would just be the lineage? Like they would just not.
Listen,
no,
New
that
Japan,
sucks.
New Japan already
does
did that with the heavyweight title, which they killed in lineage, which went back to Antonio Inoki.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Hate
Let's
that.
not.
Yeah, that's not too
Let's
bad.
Lineages make things cooler.
Amen
do.
to that.
They do. So when you go into stuff, when you try to say name every WWE champion, you can do like a show about it or something. Go watch Survival Series.
Amen.
All right. That is everything. We've overrun. Sorry. It's a 3-man booth. We're getting used to it. We've got live reactions for Crown Jewel starting in like 35 minutes. It's going to be Tempest defending his Jam That Championship against Ollie Davis.
Yeah,
So
come watch. It's a charity stream.
It is.
Sammy for Syria.
Sammy for Syria.
We don't have to like Saudi Arabia, but you can like charity.
Yeah, like charity. Thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. We'll be back with the 3-man booth next week as well. Get used to it for a little bit. And then it'll be 2-man booth. Yay, excitement. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. And stick around for those Crown Jewel live reactions starting in about half an hour, just over. So yeah, subscribe and then we'll have a podcast review of Crown Jewel tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Chubba Pete Cornell. I've been joined by Sat E Niangi and Tempest, your Jam That Champion, Cruisermania Champion, and that bitch.
Pete, throw up an L.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
L-I-W.
L-I-W. Bye.
Watch the episode.